All right then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back here, folks. We're here at the Reddit 2015 Community Open. I'm your host, Unthink, bringing it to you live. We've got a great set of games today for you, the semifinals and final games here of the tournament. If you've been tuning in throughout the entire tournament, you've seen a crazy amount of awesome play here from all the teams, especially yesterday as we joined us here for the quarterfinals. To talk a little bit about some of the games and what we've seen so far, I have our fellow casters and cohorts. Playing here with us is Posh, Quent, and Toasty. So guys, we've had a couple great games here so far. The quarterfinals were absolutely phenomenal. Throughout the tournament, have you seen any particular exemplary players that have stood out? And how have they done so far during this tournament? Posh, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. This actually... The second semifinal for today is there's a team in there that is my personal favorite. I'm just going to come out and say it right now. And that is Team Shelloweld. Not because they're German and I'm German too. There's no kind of national pride in there. But because in all the games that we have watched them play, and even in the group stages, they have been playing strategically as a team. Like in Rocket League, we have all played matches in which everyone just kind of tries to hit the ball into the general direction of the goal. And obviously that won't get you very far. And I'm pretty sure that all the teams that play today in the semifinals don't really do that, but also play a little bit of tactical play. But Team Shelloweld has been showing exemplary, especially positional play in all the matches that we've seen them play yesterday. They have basically stomped their way through their group, taking down their first enemy 6-0, and in the group finals taking down their opponents 8-1. And yesterday, they had very, very strong showings as well, getting a pretty close game against the Ballbusters in Game 1, but absolutely knocking it off in Game 2. And they basically wait for their opportunities. They wait for that one moment where they can just knock the ball towards the enemy goal, and more often than not, it goes in. They play it, they played almost formulaically, you can actually call it. And I think there'll be a team to definitely watch out for in today's match.
Great, thank you. Toasty?
Pretty much to bandwagon off his same comment. I would like to talk about Galaxy White and no problem, but unfortunately I didn't get to cover a couple of their matches the other day. But to go off what he was saying, I mean, the match that I covered with Team Shelloweld against... who was it? Let's take a look at the with City Rocket League. They dismantled them on the counterattack, and they chose the right moment to go ahead and move forward. They chose the right moment as they were being pressed up against their goal. And Jokey and Martin really play off Remco, and they really move together, like Pash was saying, as a unit. But on the opposite side, something different, they were playing that more pressing play. Murray, Purdy, and Druvy were both up on the goal. They want to make sure they play the neutral zone trap, keep pressing everybody against their goal, basically suffocate whoever they're playing, and score goals off the wall, bouncing it off the zones and stuff like that. So it's tough to pick a favorite in this one, but I definitely think it'll be fascinating to see whether we see the counterattack approach prevail or whether we see the pressing attack from something different prevail.
Okay. Thank you, Toasty. Quent, do you have any teams or players that have stood out to you so far?
Yeah, so I might be kind of in the minority here when I say that I'm kind of thinking that something different can really bring something different to their match. Shelloweld might work well as a team, but something different, they just get the goals in. They have some really good strikers, and they really can just get that ball into the net with no opposition. So I think that that's going to be a really fun match to watch. But also the first game today, No Problem versus Galaxy White. We have two really good strikers there, both very good aerialists, Table Breaker and Classics. So I think that's going to be a really good matchup to see what happens when two aerial artists get together and try to battle it out to see who wins.
Aerial artist. Can't agree with you more there. Absolutely. So then, it kind of leads us into our second moment here. Galaxy White versus No Problem. They're going to be the first game here of the tournament today, playing for the semifinals, moving into the final game. Going to jump over to Posh once again. Posh, what are your predictions for this best of five coming up?
Yeah, so going into the finals, as I've said, Team Shelloweld are one team that I think will make it to the finals. Of course, we can't really say something different, as Quent has said. They have had a pretty strong showing as well. But what really stood out for me with Team Shelloweld is I'm not sure what to call the position, but Classics, who just kept getting the ball back into the enemy half of the field. And that's something that I saw in Galaxy White as well in the game yesterday against Woodhood. They just kept the pressure going nonstop. They pushed. And the longer you keep the ball on the enemy side of the field, the more opportunities you're, of course, going to have to get to turn that into a score. So going off what I saw yesterday from these both teams, my personal prediction for the finals would be Galaxy White versus Team Shellowald. And if we do get that, it's going to be one hell of a match because we're going to have these two powerhouses of aggressive play going up against each other. It's going to be pretty much unstoppable force versus immovable object. One of them is going to have to give. I'm looking forward to seeing who.
Absolutely. Toasty, any thoughts on the upcoming game, Galaxy White versus No Problem?
Yeah, again, he reiterated all the main points that I think everyone needs to notice in this matchup is, unlike Team Shellwald, the counterattack and something different, the aggressive play, Galaxy White and No Problem, they are balls to the wall the entire time, to put it bluntly. I mean, they are all over the place. Specifically, I got a chance to catch the Keisuke Honda's game in their Group G match in the 3rd round against No Problem. And like Quint mentioned, table breaker. Watch this dude. I mean, if you watch him play, he goes for every dunk opportunity. He is just absolutely everywhere, and his teammates play off that, and they all work together just like Team Shellwald as a really great unit. You can tell they have this really nice synergy, and watch out for the dunks. Watch out. Definitely keep an eye out for Table Breaker to be breaking some tables.
Absolutely. He's definitely quite the aerial master there. Quint, any thoughts on the upcoming game between Galaxy White and No Problem? I know you kind of mentioned that a little bit previously when you spoke.
Yeah, again, I'll just bring up the fact that both of them have some very good aerial artists. I'll use that term again. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not the game is going to be played mostly on the ground or in the air, because I assume that both teams are going to want to maybe keep it out of the air so that the other team doesn't get an opportunity to get those nice aerial hits and get those extra points. So it'll be very interesting to see what type of tactic these teams play to try to get the upper hand over the other team.
All right, and that, something very similar, we'll talk about the second match of the day here. Team Shellwald and something different, both fighting their way through the quarterfinals, both pushing very hard, absolutely dominating their early brackets, both of them for the qualifier games. Toasty, how do you feel about this matchup, and what are your predictions for this coming up?
I always hate predictions because I always end up being wrong. But I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction that I think Team Shellwald will find their moments. I know something different is going to be all over them. But I think Team Shellwald is going to look for those moments, pick those moments. But also, who knows? Because this game is so fast-paced, you can change your strategy up at any given moment. So what we saw yesterday can be completely thrown out the window. They may not play that same style. They may switch it up to kind of confuse their opponent in this best-of-5 series. But in the end, I think Team Shellwald's gonna pull this one out.
Okay. Same question to you, Posh. Who are you looking at for this matchup between Shellwald and something different?
Well, considering how high I've spoken of Shellwald already in my previous 2 predictions, I'm gonna get behind Mike here and say Team Shellwald is gonna take this one. Something different, of course. All of these teams in the semifinals are strong, but Shellwald has shown that they have that little something that they need to really dominate their opposition. And I think they're going to carry that on to the semifinals as well, and that's going to carry them into the finals.
Okay. But bold predictions there. Quint, any thoughts on the upcoming game, Shellwald, something different?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and swim against the flow here, and I'm going to say that, I think something different. Their pressure is just going to be too much for Shellwald, and it'll just crack the egg, and they're going to be able to take the win over Shellwald. But I think it's going to be a close match. Whatever we see is going to be really exciting, and it's going to be a great show to watch.
All right then, folks. Well, that is it for the pregame show here. We're going to get the next game up and rolling. The teams are already ready to go here in the server. So we'll get that one jumped up to you in just a minute. But once again, I want to stop and thank all the sponsors making the 2015 Reddit tourney possible. I want to thank Dave's Meat and Nuts. Head over to davesmeatandnuts.com. They got some fantastic selections of nuts and jerky for you to try out over there. And then, of course, discordapp.com for all your VoIP needs, should you be looking for a browser-based solution. All right then, folks. We're going to be jumping to a break, but we will get to the games in just a moment. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.